We are profoundly privileged to listen to an eminent jurist known for his profound leadership and landmark judicial pronouncements. I now have the distinct honor of inviting our chief guest, Honorable Mr. Justice Krishna S. Dixit sir, former Judge, High Court of Karnataka and Odisha, to deliver the inaugural address. Thank you.
Claps before speech begins indicates to the speaker that he should be brief. I shall try to be. Dignitaries on and off the dais, Simha Singhji, Mahadevaya, Deshikanta, galaxy of professors, and the universe of students, lawyers, friends. It's a matter of great pleasure that I have been invited to inaugurate this seminar. Had I not been invited, I would have requested them to invite me because I love this land of black soil, colorful tea. Hassan Gangu Bahman Shah, the founder of Bahmani Sultanate, called this land as Gulbarga. Gul means in Arabic flower. Barga means petal. Petal of a flower. And coming to a place like this naturally will make one happy, and therefore I am happier. Today's topic is also very tempting. It will prompt anyone to speak till the cows come back. But I have to see the clock also. There are many participants in the seminar, and therefore I am only putting the things in focus as the inaugural speaker. Shri Dattopanta Thingdi, a great thinker of RSS, a great thinker, leader of RSS, founder of Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh, who has authored many books of eminence, once suggested in a meeting in which I too had participated to read Gibbon's Rise and Fall of Roman Empire. Why Roman Empire fell down? Gibbon gave principally 13 regions. And the 13th is the samskara. Marriage happens to be the 13th samskara amongst Hindus. One of the main reasons as to why Roman Empire, the great Roman Empire, fell down was that the social institutions were weakened. The Romans wanted to enjoy life, more particularly the drinks and go for erotic pleasures. They thought children will come in the way. Therefore, by their thought process, they devised a plan. They brought slaves, gave all their children at the lap of slaves, and children imitated the slaves. Within 20 years, Roman Empire fell down. It fell down not because of war, nor because of pestilence, nor because of pandemic, endemic, earthquake, volcano, nothing of that. The children were brought up by the Roman premiers under the guidance of slaves, and they started behaving like slaves. The leadership fell down, and as a consequence, the Roman Empire fell down. With this, I have to begin the inaugural speech. Arnold Toynbee, a great historian of eminence, who is compared to Will Durant, Ariel Durant, who wrote 11 volumes of Story of Civilization. Arnold Toynbee wrote 2 books on world history. He said, out of 21 prominent civilizations, 18 have vanished away because the values on which those institutions, the civilizations were built up, vanished, diluted, withered away. And therefore, when the bedrock falls down, the superstructure also will fall down. Why this happens? Because the social institutions become weak for XYZ reasons, and the society which comprises of these social institutions, like marriage, also will wither away. Therefore, treating marriage only as a social contract will not help. Any Western society which has been built on the basis of social contract theory is gradually collapsing. Just you see, Harari, the great author, the Yehudi author, has written Homo sapiens, Homo Deus, the 2 famous books. Any contract on which the society, the edifice of society is founded, will not be safe. If that be so, treating the marriage as a contract between a man and a woman for legalizing the sexual intercourse for the purpose of procreating children to the exclusion of world at large, if this idea of marriage is accepted as the ideal one, then be sure that the society will collapse. You have seen the American society, you have seen the Australian society, you have seen the European society, and you have seen other society where the marriage is treated as a contract which can be regulated by your Indian Contract Act 1872. Then such a society will be weak, and that society will fail because it does not cater to the needs on which the society sustains. This is second one. Nowadays, we are forgetting, as Honorable Vice Chancellor had put it succinctly, that we are forgetting the social values on which the life, the common life is sustained. We think our autonomy is very important. It is primary to us. Where individual claims the autonomy, that will prejudice the collective interest of the society at large. Therefore, our ancestors, the Bharatiya Rishis, has prescribed marriage as one of the 16 samskaras. Shodasa samskara. 13th happens to be the samskara of marriage, which we call as Vivaha Lagna Samlagna. How that was conducted? If it is a samskara, then it is not just a contract, but it attains the status of sacrament. Sacrament, not only legal, a sacrament which is social, which is constitutive of the society, constitutive of the family as the unit of the society, and very productive, not only to those who are in the wedlock, but also to the society at large. It serves the Pitruruna, Rushiruna, Samajaruna, Devaruna. All 4 debts are discharged by the institution of marriage. The institution of marriage, which is treated by scholars like Bertrand Russell in his Marriage and Morals, published in 1929, the idea is it is a pure contract. Russell suggested before entering into marriage, one should have full knowledge of each other's body, each other's mind. Only thereafter they should go into this contract for a limited period, which he prescribed 5 to 10 years. After 5 years, children are born. After 10 years, born children are about 5 years old, assuming that the duration of the marriage is 5 years. Who should bring up the children? Only the lady? What is the enormous disadvantage that the women are put by the nature itself? To that the men will add. Therefore, treating marriage as a contract and providing for an exit from the contract on XYZ grounds will not serve the purpose of the society. Therefore, we always say the marriages are permanent, stable, eternal, and for 7 lives, not only 1 life, for 7 lives, you shall be my spouse. This is one of the mantras in Saptapadi. How we perform the marriage? Vivaha Homa, going by Shastrik, the marriage, we go for Vivaha Homa. Before that, Vijnaneshwara of Maraturu, the land of forgotten people, the forgotten land, Vijnaneshwara himself was a great commentator. His commentary on Yajnavalkya Smriti became the Mitakshara. That author suggests that there should be the parley and counseling by, between, and to the intending parties to the marriage. This is very important. We are under the impression the marriage is a bondage. It is not. Marriage is not a bondage, and had it been a bondage, that institution of marriage would not have survived for centuries, if not millennia. By that now, the Shastric scriptures prescribe Vivaha Homa, Saptapadi, tying of Mangala Sutra, and Arundhati Nakshatra Darshana. Generally, these were considered to be the requirements of a valid marriage. Rarely the exit from this marriage was recognized by the Hindu law, and Manu calls it as moksha. Moksha is not only just salvation, spiritual salvation, it is a salvation from the marriage itself, the bondage, so-called bondage of marriage itself. Exceptionally, that used to be recognized in the Hindu law. In where marriage was treated as a contract between 2 individuals belonging to opposite sex, and rituals were very, very limited. Bertrand Russell suggested, while entering into contract, remove all these rituals. Rituals are not necessary. Even Jeremy Bentham, in his theory of legislation and morals, which you law students often turn the pages of, he suggested the ceremonial aspect should be ignored, but one thing he pointed out, that where the ceremony of marriage is grand, it will have a beneficial effect on the stability and longevity of marriage. This is what he himself had said this. Now, we are speaking of evolution of man-woman union for the rest of life. It is not just a simple union which you will see in the newspaper every day, perhaps. It is not that simple. Once you agree that marriage is an institution of the society, we have to analyze that. Just by two individuals, by volition, come together and residing under the same roof would not constitute a marriage at all, although long cohabitation may raise a presumption of there being a vinculum juris of marriage, right from 1967, Justice Rajamanna's judgment till this day. But anyway, where the individuals come together on their volition and reside not as a couple, not as a married couple, then even that question also would not arise. Because on volition they say, we want to live together, we want to have conjugal pleasures, we may decide to have children, or we may not have that volition at all, regard being had to the advanced contraceptive technologies available now. If marriage as an institution is diluted, then the society is bound to suffer in the longest run, is one such argument, which I will not much deliberate because it's a matter for the people who participate in the seminar. Me being only the inaugural speaker of this function. 2-3 things I have to say. The idea of marriage involves in the Hindu scriptures that union of man and woman, security, succor, and succession. If you see, there is one shloka in Manusmriti. Pita rakshati kaumare, bharta rakshati yavane, rakshanti sthavire putra. The next line I will not say because there is lot of controversy on that. Let us keep it away. How women are looked after in our society? The women, when they are children, daughters, little daughters, they are looked after by the Pita. Pita rakshati kaumare. During the childhood, it is the father who will look after. Then, in good olden days, because of so many socio-economic religious conditions, the safety was the prime factor. And therefore, during the youth, husband will look after the woman. Rakshanti sthavire putra. During the evening of her life, it is the children who will look after the lady. All this is to ensure safety and security of women in a particular socio-economic condition, which you all know how it used to be. Therefore, if these things are ignored, then the security and the safety of women will be in crisis. Mere speaking of autonomy, going by Bentham, Bertrand Russell, and Thomas Paine, if we agree that women should have autonomy, yes, we should agree that women must have autonomy. But what is meant by autonomy? Whether in the guise of autonomy, if you procreate children and the man leaves the house, who should look after the children? Upon whom the entire burden will fall. As a judge, as a lawyer, I have argued similar matters, such matters, and as a judge, I have decided such matters. For a woman, child is part of her body and soul. For a man, it is something else. Therefore, it was said, mother is a fact and father is an opinion. That is a profound statement, where only you are giving much importance to the autonomy of woman, and you ignore the collective interest of the society at large, how the society will survive. And if society does not survive, how those who are in the contract will survive. These are also some of the arguments. Therefore, merely because some courts hold that women have autonomy, man has autonomy, they can reside together, and society is not supposed to interfere. It only sets the things in a legal framework. The idea of marriage far exceeds this concept. It far exceeds this concept. We have seen 2018 judgment, Joseph Shine versus Union of India, Honorable Justice D.Y. Chandrachud's judgment, where it has been held that Section 397 of then IPC, which made adultery an offense, is unconstitutional. Well and good. As an offense, it does not continue. But as a ground for nullification of marriage, for grand dissolution of marriage by way of decree of divorce, even now it is recognized. Autonomy of individual is one thing, interest of the larger interest of the society is another. In our Hindu jurisprudence, Bharatiya value system, there used to be a gold service of the interest of the society, of which they were also an integral part. Therefore, there are many other aspects. Few aspects I will tell you in a few minutes. Number one, whether they should be given the benefit of taxation. Under taxation law, the married couple is entitled to certain exemptions, whether they should be treated as married couple. In service law, spousal transfers are there, where husband is employed in X place and wife is working in Y place. The husband or the wife, as the case may be, may seek that they should be posted at one particular place. Whether for this purpose do you treat this union as the married couple. Under election law, the candidate in the election row has to disclose the property holding of the wife. Whether for the purpose of this, the lady who is residing in the union with man should be treated as the wife or not, or husband or not. Then two individuals are residing together and though they procreate the children, what should happen to the property aspects, whether the children should inherit or not. Now, the contemporary judicial trend is in the property of the so-called parents who are not married but who constitute a couple, they are entitled to succeed to that unless otherwise willed up. These are very few things which I am mentioning. The children in educational institutions, whose name it should mention as father, only biological father, or father in true sense, where the liability to look after the children under section 125 of erstwhile CRPC is available. These questions will arise. Only one important thing which Freud had mentioned. Freud had a patient, a small child. Mother brought him that child to Freud, Sigmund Freud, for some treatment of some ailment. The child was speaking, bending its head on the left side, raising its right hand like this, and with a raised voice. And for the next session, instead of mother, father brought the child. and he saw the father. Father was bending his head on the right side, raising his left hand, and again speaking with a loud pitch. The friend noted the male child imitates the man, father, female child imitates possibly the mother. The values are inculcated by the conduct and the speech and the interaction of the parents. Suppose if they do not treat as the parents interstate between themselves, what lesson the child should draw? Number one. Suppose if the biological father of the child leaves the so-called union, then how are you going to give the values which otherwise the child will draw from the father? And what impact it will have on the social well-being? These are some of the aspects which need to be debated in the seminar itself. And with this, I conclude my remark, but I am not concluding any idea. I make it clear that I am not against the autonomy of the women. In fact, I am too much after the autonomy of women. They should have autonomy. And this autonomy and the idea of marriage are not in conflict with each other. This is very important. Only one example I give you, one instance from the history of this country I give you. Why one? Three I can give you. Rani Channamma. Mallasarja was not well. And Rani Channamma used to take the decision with the consent of Mallasarja. Prataman, Ahalyabai Holkar used to take all decisions relating to the affairs of the state, even when the husband was not in a position to take decision, or there was no husband of the particular time. Little go back to the 8th century, when there was a discussion, argument between Mandana Mishra and Shankaracharya. Mandana Mishra's wife was Ubhaya Bharati, and in the discussion, who was made the judge? Ubhaya Bharati, wife of Mandana Mishra, was the judge. And she used to decide who is right, who is wrong. She decided her husband is wrong and Adi Shankara was right, and by way of pact between them, Mandana Mishra became the first seer of this Shringeri Shankara Mat with the name Sureshwarananda. That is the story written in Mat itself. Therefore, the autonomy is not lost by the marriage of our kind. No autonomy is lost. So these are few aspects which need to be discussed by you all, and that may provide a good framework for rethinking on the so-called evolution of man-woman union. Thank you. Thank you so much.